It's the People Station, V103, the ATL's #1 for hip hop, R&B, and throwbacks. I'm Danny B, and as you know, I always like to keep you updated with what's happening around the ATL. And we got some special people in the building. We have Pearl Chang and Kevin Calhoun from WokDragon. If you've been over to Lenox Square Mall, you know exactly what WokDragon is. How y'all feeling?
Feeling good.
Wonderful.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. And it's so great to have you guys on the show because just the story behind the restaurant is so crazy, so impactful. Your mother fled communist China, was raised in Taiwan, English became her third language,
Yes.
went to Clark Atlanta University, and got a degree in computer science. How did you guys end up in the restaurant business and that legacy now passing on to you, Pearl?
Yeah, definitely. So it was my grandparents that
Oh, it's
fled.
your grandparents.
Yeah, but my grandparents fled the communists when the communists came to occupy China. My grandfather, my maternal grandfather was high up in the army that was trying to defend the territory. And so when the communists came to occupy China, he had to flee. And my grandmother also had to go with him. So on both sides of both my mother and my father's families, I actually don't know anyone beyond my grandparents' generation. I've met a distant aunt
Wow.
one time, but yeah, I've largely, been kind of cut. Ties were cut. So, for instance, like my grandmother told me one time, she's never got to return to China. She had to go. So, my mother was born in Taiwan. Back in the day, it was known as Formosa, and was one of 6 kids, and it was difficult. It was difficult because, very impoverished. So, poverty. And that in the country at that point doesn't really look like poverty here. Plus, there is that part where, like the son's son is, inheritance passes through the men.
Yeah.
In my mom's family, there was only one son. So he is the second born. My mother is the third born. And so when they did have food, for instance, they had a chicken that would lay an egg once a week or maybe once every couple weeks, it would go to him. And my mom had to kind of split a room with her sisters growing up. So it was hard. She didn't really get, she got rice porridge every day.
Wow. Wow. So you go from rice porridge to fast forward, WokDragon. You guys serve all types of stuff. So again, like, how do we get there?
Right. Great question. So my father actually got a student visa to study get a master's degree at Georgia Tech. And so that's when he came over in the late 70s, and my mom came with him. So while he was studying, they lived in the graduate housing down at Georgia Tech, and I'm actually the first one that was born in America on both sides of my family. So my mom was kind of waiting tables, helping him get through the program. She, to this day, will say that she still feels like Taiwan is part of, like a very strong part of her identity, even though she's been in America much longer than she has been in Taiwan. It wasn't necessarily always when she talks about it, not very willingly wanting to come here, but she came here as a wife. This is her duty as a wife, kind of like with my grandmother's duty as a wife to follow her husband to a different country, pretty much. So she has always told me, I didn't really know what I was going to do. She kind of saw herself as a mother. I remember sitting in the back seat of my parents' car while my dad was trying to teach my mom how to drive, because, driving isn't a thing over there. And I do want to say, in this day and age, Taiwan now is considered a first world country, so it does not look anything like it did back then in the 40s and 50s.
Gotcha. All right, so over at WokDragon, what do we have going on?
What don't we have going on is the better question. So to Pearl's point, her mother started WokDragon. She's been in the Simon Mall for close to 30 years, different iterations of restaurants. WokDragon is the latest incarnation of that, perfected all of these great recipes over time. And now we have this kind of Atlanta icon. People have grown up with WokDragon here in
Right.
Atlanta. They may not recognize the name, but when they come into the food court,
You smell
one
it.
of the first stops they
Yes.
make
First sip you
is
smell, you're like,
WokDragon.
okay, I know what I bet.
And you know the folks standing out there with the sample saying, come eat.
Yeah.
We have a lot of celebrity fans, a lot of celebrity clients that come in. So, WokDragon is evolving. So, yeah, for the last 10 years, it's been a food court staple. It's something that people recognize. We have a new experience for you in Chamblee.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I like to affectionately call it the House of the Dragon. It is in Chamblee Village, right in the Walmart Plaza. So if you walk straight out of Walmart, look ahead, we're right there. And we're doing some pretty cool things. First of all, it's a sit-down restaurant. Different concept than
the food court
yeah,
model.
very different.
Because that's what I was thinking of when I thought of WokDragon. I'm like, okay, the food court.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I know.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
heard that this new location is going to have alcohol
It,
sales.
Yep.
We're going to have some drinky drinks.
So let's just say it's going to be lit in true Atlanta fashion.
Yes.
We are moving ahead. It's the next evolution of WokDragon. So sit down experience. We are offering extended hours. So piloting this model where if Walmart is open, we're open because it's kind of a food desert in certain places over there. So if you come out of Walmart, your shopping experience, you end at 11, come over to us, right? We also, to your point, are going to offer adult beverages for adults who are over 21. Some limited,
With no fake IDs. Trying to play games.
some limited items that we want to offer with our meals. Additionally, we're going to start offering maybe some weekly specials that will kind of change the game for a lot of our folks over there. And we are invested in the community. So we just did Taste of Brookhaven. Great response. People were like, we didn't know you were there. I'm like, now you know, right? And knowing's half the battle. And then we're doing the Taste of Chamblee on October 18th. So larger audience, and we will be one of maybe 2 Asian-inspired restaurants. So you can't really miss us. Please come and see us. The Chamblee experience is going to be different. We're also inviting many of our students who are in the area. We love to give back to the community. So internships, a lot of people come home from college. They want some work experience. If you're in the hospitality industry, we want you to talk to us because we definitely have a place for you at WokDragon.
Awesome. And how can they do that?
Yeah, all you have to do is come in, or you can reach out, have a phone number for you, 404-274-1005. And we are more than happy to connect with you. And you can also go on our website, www.wokdragon.com, or reach out to us on Instagram. We are on the gram.
Absolutely. Again, we have Pearl and Kevin in here from WokDragon, and I just commend you both, especially with the climate that we're in right now, as far as the pressure that's being put on people who are minorities, people who are immigrants, and you guys having a story that is so strong, and you're continuing to push through, and you're continuing to overcome all of that, and just push forward with new iterations of your restaurants, and continuing to get these flavors, and just being true to who you guys are.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I mean, I'll tell you that, Shirley Chisholm is one of my favorite people, the Honorable Shirley Chisholm. And she said, if you're not given a seat at the table, pull up a folding chair. Mrs. Chang was not given a seat at the table. She pulled up a folding chair, rolled the dice, and has been winning. And I believe she's kind of the embodiment of what Atlanta's all about, right? Resurgence is the motto of the city. She keeps rebuilding and coming up with these new ideas, and Atlanta's responded in kind, and we appreciate all of our customers.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to mention that she's the only small local Atlanta chain in Lenox Square Mall and the surrounding areas. A lot of her loyal customer base will recognize originally her store was called Cajun Supreme. The actual branding of our neon dragon, WokDragon, came out a little bit over a decade ago, but she's been in the food court, and there have been, I think, some of her best friends are in Lenox Square Mall that have been with her for decades. But yeah, it was difficult because at one point there was a major overhaul with the image of Lenox Square Mall and what they were wanting to become. This is also what Atlanta was wanting to become.
And
yeah,
the old Atlanta versus new Atlanta.
right,
Yeah.
right, and they got rid of a lot of the people in the food court. My mom was one where it's like, you don't really fit our image anymore. This isn't what Buckhead is where we're headed. So this is decades ago. So she's really been resilient, thinking on her feet, and trying to just roll with a country that, her English is still her third language, you would say, but oftentimes just like at this point having the wonderful Kevin and helping with the online piece or with radio, they're kind of concepts that my mom doesn't, really get
Right.
but she's got that entrepreneur spirit where she knows, well, let's keep evolving,
I love it. Again, Pearl Chang, Kevin Calhoun, WokDragon. Make sure you go check them out in Lenox Square Mall. That's so amazing that you guys are still one of the few locally owned and local based businesses that's in Lenox Square Mall, because as you said, that area has gone through an overhaul, and then that whole Chamblee area, that I feel like that's just the perfect place for something like this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Come see us. You won't regret it.
And then y'all brought us some food too, right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course. Can't wait to share it with
ma'am.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, thank you so much. Make sure y'all go check out WokDragon and go to the Chamblee location because they got little different things over there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Again, Pearl Chang, Kevin Calhoun, thank you guys so much.
Thank
Thank you.
It's B103. Perfect.